कब तो हम ही उठाएंगे। थम्स अप उठा, इंडिया मचा।
Before we get anywhere, we had a nice little interaction where we found out where Virat Kohli got his, nickname Chiku from. So I said, what was yours, He said, now it's become trendy, now it's Waz. What was Ravi Shastri's nickname in the days growing up? School nickname?
Oh, they called me Ravi only.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nothing exciting?
Nothing exciting. Shaz.
No, but that is later, Shaz and Waz. But the rain has...
Yeah, they should call me Lambu.
Okay, so there we go. That's what we wanted. I assume we got that. But a pleasure to be able to talk to Wasim Akram and Ravi Shastri at the moment. I mean, what an opening partnership that has been. I mean, an opening partnership between Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill that has now been averaging 96. They've got 850 plus scores together. And today, Ravi, they had decided that we've got this pace attack that they've done some damage before. We're going to change our approach to them.
They did. And, what was good to see was the way they mixed caution and aggression, especially with his footwork, very positive with his footwork. You never found him in no man's land, and it wasn't easy, at that stage, because the ball beat the bat. It was a little too pace, the odd one kept low, and the bowling was pretty good. They did a great job seeing that new ball through.
What did you make of the new ball bowling, Wasim?
I think they tried. It was, to start off with, it was quite hot and humid, as we noticed. So that will give him confidence. So he's coming back a bit.
Vaz made that point. Tomorrow we can come back. Now, when you knew you had 2 days, that made me think that India would have their games. They beat Nepal, but against Pakistan or Sri Lanka or Bangladesh, they've not yet got on the board. So I thought with 2 days there, 2 days to play for this game, I thought batting first might have been a better option.
It's interesting to hear that because we talk a lot about preparation. That's why we follow the Blues. We see what happens in the nets. And Shubman Gill, particularly after that first game against Pakistan, which was his first ever game against Pakistan, worked a lot, Ravi. You saw footage of himself. He worked to that left arm angle, concentrated on his head movement, on his movement track to the, down the track. So did you see a difference in his approach today, reaching his 8th half century?
We discussed together when we were on air that his front foot was really coming on a front foot near the pitch of the...
In the lead up to this, there were reports of working on the sweep with just keeping that attack mentality in mind, using some of those classical shots. But of course, again, a lot on the footwork. So when you do it in the nets, and then you see it apply against quality bowling.
Yeah, that's what top players do, and they suddenly realize you have staff, all the coaches, the batting coach, the Rahul Dravid, and stellar concern.
Both the openers, though, got the game time that they wanted against Nepal, specifically captain Rohit Sharma. Now a 50th 50 from him, which is quite extraordinary in terms of international, because he's just piling on those numbers. What did you like about Rohit Sharma's approach today?
The fact that he didn't give it away. He did miss out on a single loose ball today. So which showed that in spite of that good spell from the bowlers, the intent was anything loose, I'm ready to look for that boundary or 6. And when Shadab came in, he took him to the cleaners. And then by that time, his confidence had grown against the fast bowlers as well. So when Haris Rauf came, a couple of good pulls, a couple of good cuts, and he,
like Shaheen said, against the bad deliveries, he didn't let them go, and that's the quality. 50s in ODIs. I mean, when he played, it was we never even thought about it.
He's a giant. He's a giant in the white ball game. I mean, make no mistake about that. 3 double hundreds. He in one World Cup he got 5, unbelievable.
And Shaheen passing shower hasn't passed yet.
Deep, I think is looking at his phone.
We don't know
he's checking every website now.
But in defense, he said, let's hope it's a passing shower.
No, it could be a passing, but the problem is it rained so heavily that even before they could put the covers, there's a lot of water that's gone onto the outfield, so it'll be interesting to see.
When you grow up in the subcontinent, and if you live particularly in the south, and you have faced the heat that we face today, the showers are coming at some point.
No. There were showers. There were 2 kinds of showers today. Especially when the sun...
And yes, the dismissal of Rohit Sharma, because as Ravi's been saying, he's a bit of a Goliath in this format, that
really
inching towards the 10 kids. He might look back on those visuals and that dismissal and say, okay...
Gap, and credit to the fielder there, Fahim Ashraf, who actually anticipated that he's playing there, so he ran before he played the shot. That's where he reached the ball.
As a bowler, though, you've got to make your comebacks to come back and then take the wicket of Shubman Gill as well. You have
to believe in his talent. And yeah, he's a match winner. And I think today, Pakistani 11, it looked okay. It looked good, better than the previous game against India. Extra
You
spinner.
prefer the extra pace off?
I do. Even on pitches like this, extra spinner is much better, especially.
Well, we're having a little bit in terms of the fact that just a breather because of the rain, so we'll keep track as to what's happening. We can see a few inspections going on, but as they do in Sri Lanka, they have completely covered the ground and the rain is pouring down. You know, we were thrown a little bit of the fact that Shreyas Iyer just pulled up with a bit of a niggle. So that debate was essentially
Bit of a
put to
niggle
rest.
as a batter, and you don't play.
Yeah, and he's come back from surgery as well. So it's
Okay.
in the middle order. How did he look?
He looked good. He looked very good. I thought he was very fluent. You know, especially with the way his feet were moving. You normally look to see that in a batsman. When he gets a break, he's coming back from injury. How heartening for the Indian dressing room as well.
How important for KL Rahul personally would game time like this be when there is a lot of talk and debate about your position with the World Cup looming as well?
It's very important, he knows as well, and every game is important from ahead we have in this Asia Cup too.
So, I mean, in a way, it's once again a bit of a new age middle order that we're looking forward to. Once again, it was a opening stand that was very significant. So you had to wait a little bit till you saw Virat Kohli walk out to bat in the position that he's quite comfortable with. But, I mean, walked into a situation where the platform, the template had been set.
Yes, but, you know, you could see they were looking up all the time.
Yeah.
You know, they realized that there could be some rain round the corner. So, and if it is a shortened game, you don't want to lose a wicket, 5 minutes before the break.
There's always a talk, as you do. Right? It's typical. You want a Pakistani bowler facing an Indian batter. You've relished those battles over the ages, and of late it has been Virat Kohli and Hardik Pandya. I mean, we've enjoyed the little bit of needle of that little rivalry, or just that intensity amongst batter and bowler. And you saw it again today. Yeah,
it's good fun. I mean, Hardik got pace. We all know that he's consistent with his.
And we've seen that happen so often in the past. It's moments that pass in these encounters that can be talked about, years to come from now. One of that happened in the T20 World Cup at MCG with these two particular cricketers as well. That shot that Virat Kohli played against Hardik Pandya, that's become folklore now. Many have termed it as the greatest shot that they've seen ever played. We'll just remind you of some of the great moments that can come to be when India take on Pakistan. The matches like that, as fans, as spectators, it leaves you in a turmoil of emotions. You can see that reflected in the place. Gentlemen, there were so many different elements. I mean, 28 of 8. Virat saying that someone like Hardik Pandya, we have to target the best of the best. All these little intricacies. And Ravi, you spend so much time with Virat, you understand him. I mean, how do you even practice a shot like that in simulation?
Just seeing that, getting goosebumps.
I don't even remember that game.
No, unbelievable shots. Because I was there, I was ground
We didn't
side.
remind you in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, you guys did.
I was ground side next to the dugout at that time, and I could just see an MCG. I mean, there were two fabulous shots because that guy was hot. Hardik Pandya was hot. He had bowled extremely well. Last person you would have thought would go for 2 sixes on that day with that Pakistani attack, it was him because he had bowled so well. And then he pulls out two spectacular shots, especially the first one down the ground because it's against the pace. It's okay, you can use the pace and hit it square, or the second one, and you could see Hardik there egging him on all the time. You could see his teammates, the dugout after the game, what it meant, the release of pressure. India-Pakistan game. The fans, I left the ground, I thought the fans were fantastic. Both Indian and Pakistani. Pakistani fans knew that they played a fabulous game of cricket, and it was like right at the very end. It was.
What do we see? We see those moments of brilliance, of almost superhuman abilities from, literally you're performing at a theatre of dreams. Yes, I know rain is interrupted, but you're getting to see that in those moments. 147 for 2 is where India was currently at the moment before the openers. They had shared a 120 plus stand, and then you had a little bit of fire from Shaheen Afridi. Both the openers dismissed in the span of just 8 deliveries. So those sort of conversations, essentially going on. But why it's important is because Wasim, you do carry these recent, these recent encounters, these little battles. You carry it forward from an Asia Cup now into a World Cup, and that will be replicated when India take on Pakistan as well, with the entire world watching in that sort of stadium with these two players again, Virat Kohli and Hardik Pandya. In those situations,
as a player, you take on the best performances against the certain team and carry on for the next tournament. But generally, I think player mindset is very different. Once he is done his performance, he moves on to the next one. He thinks how I'm going to perform tomorrow against Pakistan or against whoever it may be. So I think with now social media, television, we show this again and again. But player, once he's done it, he moves on very quickly because he's got game tomorrow to concentrate and to focus and to plan his innings against one of the best bowling attacks in the world.
And that's exactly what we've seen. I mean, where those key battles essentially have defined these contests that leave us with memories that we can only relish because we witnessed it when Ravi and Wasim were playing all those days ago. We also kind of compare it every time a new generations of cricketers do that. So there's a lot of love beyond that boundary for those players that are within that boundary as well. Love and admiration across the borders. So we all kind of knew that rain was looming. We didn't know how much play we were going to get, but from whatever we have seen so far, especially the approach from Indian openers, that has been one of the biggest topics that we've been discussing in our shows here on Jindal Panther Cricket Live, powered by Amal. How do you face that trio, that fire that will come your way? Well, we saw the application that we've seen in the nets being applied on the ground.
Yeah, and the last game as well was washed out, but I saw some great positives, great result. Although the match was World Cup, Ishan Kishan, Hardik Pandya, and today Shubman Gill. No one should think that India will win the World Cup if Rohit Sharma or Virat Kohli have a great World Cup, because there's enough talent, enough depth, enough game.
Shubman Gill across the formats this year alone has scored more than 1,400 runs. You know, with Rohit Sharma, they're averaging 96 as a pair. But we were watching him in the nets, spending a lot of time with Rahul Dravid, watching his own footage, you know, trying to counter that left arm angle, paying attention to where his head was, where his feet were, and that application you're seeing now against the threat of Shaheen Afridi.
Yeah, the fear was there to begin with, but a couple of times coming down the pitch and hit them over the top. That really shows that how much confidence that kid has got. So, you know, something really look for.
When you're looking at ground awareness, ground situations, and you're playing shots like that, what is the difference, Sanjay, if you're a Shubman Gill, between positivity and aggression? How do you pick between the two?
It's actually very difficult to, you know, define positivity, aggression. I prefer positivity more than aggression. Sri Lanka Bangladesh game as well. We were there last night. Tawhid Hriday, what a super player. Sadira Samar Vikrama, and here Ishan Kishan last game, Hardik Pandya, Shubman Gill. I mean, this is why I think the Asia Cup will grow in strength purely because there's some quality coming through and not only.
Oh, when you know Sanjay's gone into philosophical mode, you know you're getting some answers. No, we don't want to go anywhere because we are getting some answers, some very, very deep answers. You talk about the youngsters, obviously, it's, you know, transition is natural in every team, but there are players like Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli who many are saying, you know, this will be the World Cup for them. You don't know what will happen 4 years from now. Rohit Sharma will be looking to lead India in a World Cup, that too at home, wants to go back into the mindset of that 2019 World Cup where he, you know, scored 5 centuries. From what we've seen in the last 2 innings against Nepal and today against Pakistan from Rohit Sharma, is he heading back into that mindset?
Look, he's definitely capable. I mean, he's got all those double hundreds, you know, and big runs. When he gets going, it is very, very tough for the bowlers. It just intimidates you at the crease also. And that's what he did to Shadab also today. Because Shadab was worried, scared. You know, there was a fear in him that where should I bowl to him? And he took advantage of it.
See, he got 500 in the last World Cup, right? So my assessment of Rohit Sharma is his defense has actually got better.
What would be our Surf Excel super saves, not being able to convert that 50 into a bigger one, kind of saw the slight disappointment from Rohit Sharma today, considering the platform.
Yeah, you could really tell from when he got out and the emotions he showed that he missed out on a big one, because things got really easy when he got out. And the shot he played, he didn't like it himself, because he wanted to go a little bit squarer, and in that small span period, they pulled the game back a little bit.
Doesn't hold back, does he? No.
And we saw, I think in the early matches when there was another rain interruption, we had our cameras on Rohit Sharma watching him in the dugout. He didn't go inside. He waited for the game to start. He flourished there, and the way he got out today, his eyes were set on a big one. Not that he, you know, he doesn't play for a big one. Big ones happen while he's playing normal cricket. Yeah, it's a byproduct of his approach. He may have played that shot like that, but it got
trained for what he's done. But he's a match winner. He's a genuine match winner with a bat in hand, top of the order, and captain leading from the end. He doesn't shy away from when he's playing his strokes, you know. So this is
It's a very interesting term you've just said, settle, because we had a completely different conversation in the previous Rainfield as to whether Ishan Kishan or KL Rahul will be playing in that middle order, because who would be keeping. But today, both are, because Shreyas Iyer has, he's had back surgery but has got a back spasm, so he's not playing today. So KL Rahul did get an opportunity, all said and done, working at the NCA, match simulations, keeping in games, has come out today again.
We've seen him in test matches get hundreds in Australia, in England, in South Africa at the top of the order. So he has the game. In a way, the spasm helped India. And the press
From the youngsters, though, Rohit said, no, Virat and
with the
Rohit
press
don't
conference
expect it
that
from
I
me.
heard, he said flexibility, and he didn't specify.
He said, don't expect it from Rohit and Virat.
Yeah, today was a great moment, great time to have an Ishan Kishan go up the order. It made all the cricketing sense possible. When 121 runs are on the board, Shadab Khan is having a tough time. They don't have too many go-to bowlers. A left-hander coming in with the kind of form that he had, and he bats in the top three. India missability. I want them to walk the talk and do it. If not at number 3, at least after 2 wickets fell ahead of KL Rahul, a left-hander. Shadab Khan would not be bowling his 10 overs if Ishan would have come in.
Look, I think KL Rahul being given the opportunity at number 4, there's a reason behind it. This is my thinking. In such a good form, he looks so good, he looks so elegant. And
Once again,
the point is trying to make is that if India is looking to test out KL Rahul, then it makes a lot of sense. But I'm thinking India is out there to win the game in the kind of tactical approach they would have in the World Cup as well.
Now,
that is the only.
Now I'm only smiling because I know that we put the hashtag out there. Use the hashtag #R* to get some questions in, which I will ask our analysts on your behalf. And of course, now with KL Rahul and Ishan Kishan being in the side, a couple of days ago it was, is it Ishan or Rahul? Now the question has come using the hashtag, can both play in the World Cup? Are they both ready to be in that playing 11? And I'll take that a little further, because who's the wicket keeper then? Ishan Kishan? If
Well,
both are
Anil
playing?
Kumble has said on one of our platforms that KL differently,
Do
because
you
I
have
believe
time to do that ahead of a World Cup? Because this is it and you go straight into a World Cup. So do you take those decisions now or wait, Sanjay?
See, spasm is a thing which tells you that in 48 hours he'll be fine.
Okay.
It's not like a niggle that KL Rahul that he had to miss about a week. So he'll be fine. So they'll continue with him. But
it might be a pressure thing sometimes, talking of different grades of the game. I've seen players who gets very nervous. He's a great cricketer. I mean, he's such a good, elegant player. He's times the ball well. So hopefully that is not the case. But yes, spasm takes 48 hours, doctor.
So Wasim, we have time, right? I'm sort of
Please.
So Wasim is such
floor is yours.
Wasim is such a funny guy, and there's actually the off-air talk. One day should become a TV show. I mean, a lot of people would enjoy. I didn't even know what spasm was, but I would give that as an excuse. And it's, these guys, the amount of cricket that they played county cricket as well. So I'm sure there were the odd spasm that was conveniently used to take a little break. And another great statement from Wasim when he looked at one other cricketer who is around here. I missed because I didn't feel like playing. These are just legendary sort of quotes from
only a legend
legends.
Only legends can say that.
You too,
like yourself, But look, he's recovering from back surgery. So we don't know whether it was a spasm and you take a precaution because there is a World Cup. So there's a lot of factors that we're not essentially sure.
We're not worried.
Yeah.
Mayanti, the thing is we are not worried. There are enough
because you have
players.
the options.
Look, they're good problems. Let's put it that way. They're good problems, and you don't mind and choose as good as the person who was supposed to play.
Because now you still had Kishan, Hardik, Jadeja, Shardul, those sort of players essentially to still come into the team.
So much talent, and so much ability, and they're all pretty occupied. See players who are in good nick going out there and performing, and the way he played from a situation where India was at that time, I think it was something very, very special. And he, when someone like Ishan Kishan takes team out of that sort of trouble, that gives him confidence, and that should give the selectors and the management that confidence they look for.
Should have batted at 3 or 4.
Well, why not? Because you wanted to have a left-handed option in the top order, and that just goes to show you India versus Pakistan. When you perform against in those pressure situations, it can change the entire trajectory of your career. It can change opinions about you. I asked all these gentlemen, who would be in the 11. They said, okay, Rahul, but after that game, they said Ishan Kishan. Well, it ends up being that both are in the 11 today. One more question coming in. We've rattled off all these names that were essentially waiting to get in, with Surya Kumar Yadav still sitting on the bench, and that's your hashtag #AskStar question. Are you going to see Sky return to this one-day team? Will he essentially now in the Super 4 stage, would you want to give him a game ahead of this World Cup to test the waters again?
It's again, like Wakar said,
World Cup.
I have no doubt Surya Kumar Yadav will play a World Cup match for India. Because just imagine Surya Kumar Yadav warming the benches, and you've got the incumbents like Shreyas Iyer and K. Rahul playing. He's a massive temptation to play in a big game and a situation.
I mean, he'll win games from any sort of situation. He's that sort of batsman. So temptation will be there going forward into the World Cup if he's in the squad. If he's in the squad, isn't he?
He's in the squad, yeah.
So that will happen. I have a feeling that they might, chuck him in against maybe a weaker opposition, see how he goes. Because if he's in good form, you don't need any of them, the others.
See, Wakar makes a great point. Just imagine, fictionally, if Surya Kumar Yadav was a leg spinner who could give you 7-8 overs or 6-7.
Even 5 will do.
Wow, yeah, even 5. Then, he becomes like a Shardul bowl.
It's an interesting point for the future, because someone like Tilak Verma who's travelled with the team, obviously you're looking at him for the future. They're asking him to practice a little bit on that in the nets. Of course, Rohit Sharma has thrown it out there that if you need batters to bowl, then Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma will always put up their hands in the... At the moment, seems to have figured out that mental switch between different formats. Over 1,400 runs this year, 5 centuries, 5 50s across the formats from Shubman Gill. What a year he's been having. But it's obviously about working on yourselves when you're placing some of the best in the world. It was similar to what Shaheen had bowled to Hardik in the previous encounter. The delivery, the slightly slower one, the off-cutter that got the best of
just overhit things, and that's exactly what happened with both of them, because Hardik in that game, if you look at it, he was going quite well, and what happened, suddenly something different came, and because that rush to the blood and he was looking for runs, you couldn't really read the slow a little early, and that's exactly what happened with both of them.
From Shaheen's perspective, it's about knowing when to switch it up then.
Yeah, he'll be slightly disappointed that he's right under the bat where they are forced to play a shot. And maybe just the way he bowls it, because his normal seam-up delivery also has very supple wrist behind it. And the slower ball also comes in that, because two good players have been deceived by it, clearly.
I think it's the height also, because he's what, 6'4", around that, and then the arm comes from the top.
And that's why you need to make those adjustments as a batter. I mean, we've spoken so much about the contest between Shaheen and India's top order in the past as well. And you understand, well, even though it was negotiated well today, it's a massive threat leading up into the World Cup as well. He's a fiery pacer who's risen amongst the ranks really to collect toes, if nothing else, wickets and toes. It's really amazing to hear the backstories as well. I mean, just to hear that a young Shaheen is watching Pakistan play. If you lose, he wouldn't eat. He'd go to dinner hungry. I mean, that's the passion, that hunger literally translates onto the field. How have you viewed his trajectory building up to a World Cup now? The kind of form that he's in, the temperament that he's in ahead of a big World Cup?
Yeah, he's very important to Pakistan team. His performance at the, you see Wasim Akram all his life he has done that. Never bowled a Yorker length, all just there and about, and trouble the batters.
We were doing commentary together, and we watched Shaheen Afridi bowl today and the other day as well with the new ball. And something that I saw and I've seen, but not as closely as you've done. Has he gone down on pace a little bit? Because when he was bowling that new ball spell, I was looking at the speed gun. He was going at 135 to 139, and by the third over, in his third over, he hit the fastest of 140.
Yeah.
Is that something different? Is it a matter of concern, or you don't think that's an issue at all?
Sanjay, with him, I think if he carries on bowling, if he carries on playing, his pace comes back. We saw even in the last match, he started slowly, but the pace came back in the second spell. It happens with him because he doesn't have that repeatable kind of action. He's forcing himself sometimes. His legs sort of wobbles. The base is not there, not consistently. So I feel that and it takes a bit of time to sort of come back. But yeah, once he'll bowl more in this Asia Cup and going into the World Cup, I think he'll be ready bowling at 140 plus. Bowling at 140 plus.
It's interesting because that's the same assessment that a lot have said about Mohammad Shami as well. Don't give him that game time to keep that rhythm. It was also really interesting to hear in Shaheen's own words how you want to plot against some of the best batters against India. The setup to Rohit Sharma, the battle with Virat Kohli. You can see that plotting and planning before you actually step out onto the field.
Yes, and it's a delight to be covering Pakistan right up. It's more hitting the deck, and here in Sri Lanka, I think there is more assistance if you're going to use the pitch, and there is nothing much in the air. Naseem Shah, younger than Shaheen Afridi in matter of cricketing days, but he showed more.
What were the adjustments you want to see from him going to India now?
Shaheen?
Yeah. To play in those wickets.
Very simple. I think he's doing everything right. He's a wicket taker. We want him to,
take those wickets
up front, because that will really open up games for Pakistan. You go 2 overs, and then you can come back and bowl another 2 overs later on. It's 60 or so. You build your knock. You stay out there. You spend time at the crease. It's exactly the same. Same with Shadab. It's a very similar story. Shadab also. Shadab tries too many things, and then he struggles. So 60 deliveries when you have to bowl, you have to make sure that you have a pattern, what you want to do, like making life easy for them.
Naseem Shah, that too, in the shorter formats. We saw him kind of burst into the shorter formats, the last Asia Cup, the moment to get back out there, find out essentially how much they have to contend with. But when they do take the pressure off, especially with their families, especially with their significant others, then it's a lot of fun.
Ladies and gentlemen.
That's actually the most significant line that Anushka said, that the bowler who's taken the wicket may not have been celebrating as much as Virat Kohli is at. I mean, he wears his heart on the sleeve. Yunus, Sanjay, so many times in the dressing room, you would have seen that as well. And, the locker room also, you celebrate and you just see the on-field celebrations translate.
Yeah, he's a fun-loving guy, and I saw him pre-captain and post-captain.
Yeah.
Obviously,
one of the things we notice, Wakar, is that you give it your all, right? In that moment, that you're caught up in the moment, you're caught up in the emotions. But in situations like that, when you reflect on it, and if you can be a little self-depreciating, or just enjoy the revelry of what other people say or what they point out, then that shows a little bit of maturity. Because we always talk about Virat Kohli's celebration, the aggressive, the in-your-face. But that's his personality. I mean, he's from Delhi. I'm from Delhi. I mean, we've grown up. This is nothing new to us. We're Punjabis. This is nothing new to us. It's normal.
I don't have problem with that. I think that's the beauty of an example.
The process and what goes on behind the scenes, and I always relish an opportunity to talk to Sanjay about this, because when you see Virat Kohli on the field against some of the world's best, and you see the competitiveness, bat against ball, the hard work that goes behind the scenes. Now, you've been part of so many of these India-Pakistan clashes in the recent past, and you would have spent time as a batting coach negotiating in the nets. How do you deal with each and every Pakistani bowler? So how did Virat and you go about things?
well, I think the most challenging task for him was after that is something that he did in 2018 as well. I remember he wanted to bat on wickets with a lot of moisture, so we started our practice sessions early in the mornings, 6:30, and he was the first one to be there. And when the moisture wasn't enough, in fact made sure that who was purely blessed in terms of the skills that some of the yesteryear batsmen possessed.
46 international centuries, 90 away now from 13,000 one-day runs. So that's, you're carrying that forward. Every time you step into the field, everyone's counting the runs down essentially for you. But you as a player, you can see him build his innings, how he's just counting the next delivery, the next delivery. What have you noticed over the years in his approach to certain type of bowlers, and what have you relished watching as a broadcaster now?
Look, what I really enjoyed, of course,
and also the fact that I remember a time when 2017 we lost the Champions Trophy, and obviously you feel gutted after you face a loss like that. And then he was the one who picked himself up and he went over to the Pakistani players, and the Pakistan players, their families were there, they were enjoying, and obviously in a state of great happiness. But he was the one who said that maybe feared of when India went overseas, and that's the reason why the choice of playing with 5 bowlers, the choice of playing with maybe just 5 batsmen, and saying that okay, let there be a batsman less, the choice of playing 2 wrist spinners in a 50-over game. So all those things actually show you what was the quest that he was thinking about, the way, the direction in which he wanted to take the Indian cricket.
And we've seen that journey now to just as a pure batter, playing yet another World Cup at home, getting an opportunity to do that for Virat Kohli. And every time he steps on, you hear him speak about not just the memories that Sanjay has mentioned that he's created in his own time in Indian cricket, but who he's grown up watching, his idol, his role model, Sachin Tendulkar, who he's wanted to perform at for the greatest stage. And you go back in time to India-Pakistan clashes where Sachin Tendulkar was at the peak of his powers, the best shot played by him according to Virat Kohli. I mean, it's core memories that is created for every Indian fan and Pakistani fan when these two nations face off at the world stage. We're talking about what has happened in World Cups. Right now, Asia Cup rain has interrupted, but the ground staff is working really hard to ensure that we get some play today. At the moment, though, we have started losing overs. So let's just talk some more with Ravi Shastri and Sanjay Mangal. Great fun to hear Virat kind of reminisce, because you know what a huge inspiration Sachin Tendulkar has been to him. But you were there in that World Cup and you saw those rivalries and that battle and that shot in particular.
Yeah, it was a fantastic game of cricket, and we all speak of partnership between Sachin and Viru, and it so happened that once we won the game, the most important thing that still stays in my memory is the kind of celebration that we had. Because what happened is that one gentleman in the team said that okay, we have to enjoy this victory, it's a special victory. Indian team wasn't doing that well. We had a poor tour of New Zealand at that point in time, and he said that okay, everybody has to have a puff. And he made sure that he took that piece of cigarette in his hand. Went player to player, we had to take a puff, and that's how we enjoyed the victory over Pakistan.
That's going to be one of the strangest moments of team bonding that I've heard of. I'm sure there are many, but we are not privy to all of this. But essentially, team bonding is what you get from something like that. These are the moments, actually, these sort of breaks that you get because of weather, because it's not in your control, that you build on those memories, that bonding, as we are doing with our family here on, Jindal Panther Cricket Live, powered by Amaldeep Dasgupta, who's been talking about passing showers. That's all I hear, Deep, when your name is being mentioned in the commentary box. So the shower has passed. What will come to pass now? If you can bring us an update from ground zero.
Right. Thank you, Mayanti. Yes, the showers have passed.
Thank you so much for that, Deep. Yeah, you can see actually how hard everyone's been working. Those big sponges are out there just trying to soak it all up, because that was a very heavy passing shower if it was. But it was expected throughout the day. Remember, there is a reserve day tomorrow as well. But from what you can see, all the hard work out there, they just want to get game time, Ravi. They just want to get the game out today. That's
yes, and it won't be easy, because Deep showed those wet patches. This is a low-lying ground, unlike in Kandy. This will take time. You know, those patches that you're seeing where the color is different, they're using sponge to, dry the surface. It's not going to dry out that easily. So, it's good that cut-off time is 12. If it was 5 minutes past 12 and there was a cut-off, then the game would have finished tomorrow and we would have been back here tomorrow, to finish the contest. The chances were good there, but this is not, we don't need another shower, that's for sure.
Yeah, we better hope the Deep stays out there and ensures that the showers just continue to pass. But listen, that's not in our control, but everyone's working really hard to ensure that this India-Pakistan clash continues to get back to its excitement. 147 for 2 is where things were left with Virat Kohli and KL Rahul batting out there. But Sanjay just shared some of his memories from India-Pakistan 2003, where things got very intense in the break that none of us really got a chance to see. But over the years, that's camaraderie, that's a little bit of fiery, that kind of creeps in your days as well, back playing in the 80s and then in the early 90s when you came to play Pakistan. Now those memories also carried forward. So when you first played against Pakistan, what were you told, Ravi? What were you told about the rivalry? What were your expectations?
I went there very early, to Pakistan. There was unreal, and people who've been there will tell you that, it was intense. It was competitive, at all times. And I'll remember one match, just like Sanjay mentioned this match. This was in Sharjah. You know, where at the car and
we
you were on cloud nine, and he took first ball, bang, he hit me on the pads. I was out first ball, so 0 for 1. Before I could take my pads off, there were 3 other guys in. You know, Dilip, Sunny, I think there were 2-3 other guys in, and before you could bat an eyelid, we were bowled out for 125, and it was a Friday, so you know you had the prayers. So the lunch anyway used to be extended. That finished this off. Means, you know, 125 is no score. And Pakistan started off 20 for no loss or something. And then there was a run out. And then suddenly, you know, we got some wickets. You know, everyone chipped in. The spinners came in, got wickets. The fast bowlers got wickets, and Pakistan were bowled out for 86. It is one of the greatest. Sanjay mentioned that game. You know, I covered that game, 274, and Sachin played that brilliant innings. You know, you think one side has won it, but it's never over an India-Pakistan game till it's over. You know, always remember that it's not over. There'll be a twist. You know, the pressure. There'll be 2-3 run-outs that happen, and you will be cursing the players. You might be. You know, it's not for the faint-hearted. You know, if you have a heart problem, don't watch India-Pakistan cricket, because you might be in a hospital pretty quickly, or might drop dead there, you know. So you've got to be a little.
Hopefully not that.
Little, you know, no match is over till it's over. And now we are leading up into that zone. You know, you're leading up into an Asia Cup final that might happen. You know, then it could be a World Cup. Then it could be a World Cup semi-final or final. So it's all building up slowly.
But I have to ask, you know, it just brought me to a really interesting point. You have done India-Pakistan as players, as coaches, as broadcasters now. Has it changed for you in terms of the anticipation?
I think Sanjay will explain that first match in 2015.
You still have the same nerves as a player, as a coach, as a broadcaster?
We were at Adelaide. Now I'm talking coaches had. We were in Adelaide.
2015.
And my room was, you know, facing the road, you know, in Adelaide, in the hotel. And from 4 o'clock in the morning, there were drums going, you know. Adelaide streets had never seen something like that.
Yeah.
You know, Australian government, as it is, the population is only more pressure than as a player, to be honest. You know, because here you are the coach. If anything happens, you know, then the gun is out. You know, you know. So and Virat got a brilliant 100. Yeah. He got 100. Shikhar played well. Yeah, good match.
More pressure for you? Surely not as a broadcaster, though. Now, Sanjay, it would have gone now, that pressure.
Not as a broadcaster for sure. Or a Sevpuri was available easily on an Adelaide street. So India had actually turned Adelaide into something like a Mumbai or a Delhi.
2 days, all I heard was Vande Mataram on the streets.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like being in Adelaide. It was an extraordinary experience, actually.
It's, you know, you can't, only you got to be in that situation either as a spectator.
These players can do nothing but build on that camaraderie, probably share those stories as we're sharing with all of you are watching as well, and just go back in time to relive some of the fascinating contests. And we've been hearing that from Virat Kohli on Sachin Tendulkar. What about Sachin Tendulkar now on India versus Pakistan in the '92 World Cup? It's amazing watching that, because you look at all the faces involved as well, even as a broadcaster, to see Tony Craig there, and how they all came to be in this world of cricket, the different facets that they've had. But that one moment between Javed Miandad and Kiran More, so iconic, Ravi. I mean, the match was more than about just what happened in that one moment, but it is so iconic. It is translated through time to generations, taken so many different forms and stories.
It's not easy to get under Javed's skin. So
it's amazing actually to hear that, because as your capacity as players when India take on Pakistan, and your capacity as coaches, the mental games, how do you negotiate that as a player, and when you became a coach to advise players in this pressure situation?
Underplay the situation, underplay the tension that is obviously there. Nobody meant.
It's a passion, it's unbridled at times. You can understand that, because I mean, you love these players, these heroes, you want to emulate them. They're kind of living your dreams at the greatest stage they are. I mean, we are just spectators in this cauldron of emotions that is India and Pakistan. And even now with the rain interruption and with the preparations well underway to try and get some game time, we do lose overs. The fans are still here. They're still waiting to catch a glimpse of their heroes in competitive action. Tane is out there with the fans. Tell us what the vibe is all about. that come from all of different places also understand these venues and the intricacies that are involved. So what could be the challenges, the conditions that we are expecting in this World Cup? Let's bring you up to speed.
In World Cup cricket, more successful than any other team. They started winning World Cups in India. 1987 was their first World Cup wins. Don't happen easily. West Indies won it first 2 times, they're still to win it. They've got a great record in World Cup cricket when it comes to making it to the semis, on a regular basis. So it's not easy. They'll have to soak the pressure in the earlier games. The good thing you saw with that, the venues you showed, big believed in World Cup cricket, in tournaments with that kind of scheduling. You got to start well. You've got to string in your first 5 games, at least try and win 4. If you start off well, then the crowd momentum will take you through. It'll take you along on the way.
And you're starting in Chennai. We know one section of that stadium is going to be yellow. I mean, that's a given. It's going to happen. We all know it's going to happen. We accept that. That's the love that's going to come across for Tala as well. And why not? Because he was so iconic in 2011. But Chennai, well, you know that spin will come into play. Here you also know that there's an Adam Zampa who's gearing up as well. So when you look at your opposition and breaking them down, you're aware of what you're going to be facing in those conditions.
We are, and this is
who kind of give you these options to be able to mix it up when it comes down to having different variety in your bowling as well. And that would be key against Australia, because you've got batters that have the prowess of someone like Steve Smith, who relishes playing not only in India but against India.
Runs, because as an opening batsman, and we've been sitting in the dressing room, and not only his passion while batting, but the way he chases those deliveries, and we had given him a particular name, that Jimmy is after the ball. So the way he used to run and retrieve those.
You could sense in this season's IPL that he's a bit of a man on a mission to try and just say a few things, let his bat to the talking. And let's be honest, David Warner's going to have his own little section of the crowd cheering him on, because that's how beloved he is when it comes to Indian fans in Indian conditions. What about the reigning defending champions, and that would be England, when you're coming to India here, and of course you've got.
So it's there's certain hidden things there. A lot of players have been injured, come out, things of that sort. You mentioned Moeen Ali, Adil Rashid, how they go?
We're fully fit. Jasprit Bumrah has still not had a chance to bowl yet. He's just walking out there saying that, come on.
He's like a caged tiger.
Father, so the spirits are great, but competitively right now, he is just itching to get going. But patience and perseverance is something that has seen a champion like Jasprit Bumrah through these last 11 months as well. So we're just so excited and waiting for a chance to get to see him, not just in this Asia Cup, but in the World Cup, because there are some class top order batters that will be competing. That's an extraordinary talented list of batters, top order batters that we've just seen with Ravi Shastri, Sanjay Bangar, who kind of visualized India through the 2015-2019 World Cup together as well. So gentlemen, from what we witnessed in the 2019 World Cup, from this band of batters to now 4 years on, which batter are you most excited to see in this World Cup, who you believe can deliver on that potential, that promise to be a world champion?
I believe Babar Azam. I would say Babar Azam, because all the other big players have done it at world stage.
Azam, like Sanjay said, is the player to watch, because he's done enough over the last 3-4 years, to use this World Cup stage to really propel himself into that, that top league. Not that he's not there anymore, but in a World Cup, when you do it, you get that stamp.
And you can see them building up as well in this Asia Cup. What you saw, as you mentioned, Ravi mentioned Shubman Gill, the excitement of watching him. You could already see the application from the first match against Pakistan to now, the differences that he'd made. 8th half-century score. That's 550s and 500s this year Shubman Gill has across formats, along with the captain Rohit Sharma also get out to see play resume. But just in case you missed what happened in India's innings as they were put into bat, let's remind you.
On a ground which is not ready.
The Pakistani players will be on the field right now, so for them they'll get the immediate effect of whatever little dampness is there. So more so they have to be concerned, but both tells you that they're very keen to get this underway.
But is
You had said
is
8:15.
10 minutes going to make much difference? Apart
I
from
think
sawdust
what you
stuff?
see out there,
From what we can see,
there
because
is
it's
some
right
work
behind
going
us,
on
yeah.
one particular pad, and I think from the body language,
rollers
it
out
seems
there
like
as
they
well
run
now.
up.
We've heard before how much Virat Kohli relishes playing in this format, and when we look back at that phase where he wasn't getting the centuries, when he got back into form, it was actually T20s between those hundreds, 1,021 days between international hundreds. But in this format, he said that it tests my ability in all aspects. Sanjay, how do you factor that in for a player like Virat Kohli, who does, in a sense, build innings, and especially in a chase, he constructs an innings?
Yes, I've mentioned many times on this platform in commentary as well that now not really trying to get you out or preventing you from getting 8 or 10 runs over. They are happy to concede 4. You're happy to get 4 and over. So it allows you to extend your innings, get your form back, and that happened to Virat Kohli as well. One day cricket came along, he picked up his game, and then it started spilling over to T20 cricket. I think T20 cricket for a man out of form is the toughest format. Test cricket as well. I mean, it's the ultimate test, as they say, but of your defensive game, not your attacking game.
For bowlers, though, then this format, I mean, the challenges or the spells that you come back
I was
with.
going to ask Sanjay that which format is which is easy for the bowlers. You asked the same question to me, but because he was just explaining which format is easy for the batters, playing in our conditions, things are not easy. Where those pitches are flat or slow, or for the spinners. And yes, maybe you go to England or when you go to Australia, it's a different ball game altogether. But in our conditions, it's very tough. All and especially with the as Sanjay.
You would think 50 overs would be toughest for you, or you would think Test T20?
Now I think bowlers have got little bit to say early on with the new ball, because the batters are bit more defensive. Not today, but we didn't see that. But normally you see they look to survive the first 6-7 overs, and you got to be smart as a bowler that you hit that right length, which Naseem did today. Just keep building that pressure. But if you just leak away easy runs like Shaheen did, easy boundaries came, and then the whole pressure goes out, and then those 50 over becomes way too many for the bowlers.
Particularly the most demanding in a way, because Jasprit Bumrah will have to bowl 10 overs in a limited time. It's going to be 3 hours 15 minutes. In Test cricket, you bowl about 20 overs in a whole day in 6 hours. So you get your little breaks in between. Plus you have 2-day breaks if your batting side does well. So that.
Some of the lessons that you learn along the way translates, and you see someone like Hardik Pandya not just evolve on the field, but the way that he's involved in his interviews, and how he's become a little more philosophical. Wakar, you were just mentioning that he's T20 captain, and that's changed for him, that responsibility. For Hardik Pandya in this World Cup, in the subcontinent, with that I guess responsibility of an all-rounder, and we've seen that with Yuvraj Singh. I know they had different dimensions in their game, but what Yuvraj Singh did for India in 2011, can a player like Hardik Pandya or even a Ravindra Jadeja, Sanjay, Wakar, will they be able to replicate that magic?
I think so. I think they've got what it takes, to change the game very quickly.
See, the thing with Yuvraj Singh was one discipline of his, which was batting, was so good, and he is arguably India's best white ball batter. Single-handedly we've seen him make an impact, win games. It was so outstanding.
Not even Hardik Pandya, you won't really put them the kind of batting he is doing right now.
Yuvraj Singh.
No, I'm not comparing them, and I'm just saying that, but he's got
the
potential.
Impact.
The potential is there.
He has the potential, and I see him at this stage, because it's not a guarantee that he'll come in and bowl 10, fiery overs like one of the mainstream bowlers. I see him more as a batting all-rounder, and gave me a lot of confidence in the way he batted in the last game. So yes, they have a combined sort of seen Virat Kohli get the 90, but Hardik Pandya was also there contributing. Semi-finals of the T20 World Cup, his innings made the difference. So he has this knack also of, it doesn't just talk about the big stage. He's actually done it and shown it in that short span still compared to some of the other legends. But he's shown it that he's a big stage player.
He's showed a little restraint also in that innings against, building that partnership with Ishan Kishan. 5 minutes for your prediction of game time.
One of the guys carrying the sawdust was a bit too slow. Yeah, I think that might just delay.
The umpires are still in the middle.
They're
That's
still
the
there.
issue.
The sawdust has come on as well. So there's a little bit of sawdust. There was a big
Give
sponge
Sanjay
that went out.
give Sanjay extra
Sanjay can
15
take.
minutes. Yeah.
I figured out what Hardik Pandya's binoculars were for. It's to find Tane because he's lost.
Yeah, he's seen the most excited
He's
fan
just
there.
been absorbed. Probably just been absorbed into that sea of Virat Kohli fans, and we can't find him, we can't locate him, so we'll borrow the binoculars. Okay, so 8:30, another inspection. So we've extended your prediction. The fans are out there, not with Tane, but literally the fans that are drying the pitch right now. It's a second area of concern that's come on, and we'll just know at 8:30. We know that we've lost overs. We know that we have a reserve day, and essentially we're just waiting for that for play to resume. But it's been a break that's been quite significant for some time now, but we at least had a chance to learn some great stories from each other, whether it was Waqar and Sanjay as well. So that has definitely been exciting, and we'll keep those stories going. Now as broadcasters, you have memories to share as well. It wasn't just as players. Now as broadcasters, you have rain-filled memories, Sanjay. Just think of that when you write your book.
When is your book coming?
No, one book I've written, and I think that's it.
We'll get chapter 2, chapter 3 from that as well. But it isn't just the fans that are out there, the fans that are out in the stadium, but our super fans. Vijay Devrakonda, who's been following the Indian team for a while, he joins the game.
Who is this?
I don't blame him for being stumped. I think the Shaheen Bumrah one was a little disturbing,
Bumrah
actually.
was pretty obvious.
Yeah, you just have to do
Shaheen
this.
is hard to judge, yeah.
Okay, well, imagine if they do combine their prowess and what that would produce at the moment they play on opposite ends. But let's find out what's happening in the middle. Dominic Cork is out there. Let's get you up. Dominic, could you give us an update as to the other...
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you so much for that, Dominic. So if we do get a start at 9, that's 34 overs per side. So India just come out to complete their overs, about 10 or 11 left after that. And we have to start, we have to get at least, look to get 20 overs in. If that phase goes, it has to start 20 overs by 10:27, if I'm not wrong. So that is a cutoff.
25.
Yeah. We've been extended.
With a shortened game decided, and that we'll know by 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Then if there is rain tomorrow, we play the shortened game. If nothing happens now, it starts raining, then they'll get their 50 overs game. Like India will come in and play the remaining overs, and it will be like a proper 50 overs match starting at 3 p.m.
Okay, now who is happy with this? Which team is the happier
I
one?
don't think I've applied my mind there. I think Waqar was telling a lot of people as to who would be in a better position.
Well, I mean...
India walk out at 9, and you've got about 11 overs or so to bowl to KL and Virat. And then you have to chase it down.
Because India has lost 2 wickets, and yes, the target will be...
Sanjay, obviously, goes without saying, conditions completely different now from when Virat Kohli and Rahul walked off the pitch to when if they do at 9 o'clock, walk out again.
Yeah, but shortened game. So it will be now an assessment that we've got to make about, and that again makes me believe that India will still have a good chance. But I'm with Waqar. Shortened game advantage Pakistan, but India is a damn good T20 side, bowling wise too, because all these guys, and thanks to IPL, every Indian player is an experienced T20
and
player.
that too, Pakistan have to bowl really well from here on, say another 10 overs or whatever number of overs India gets. They have to bowl really well. They can't really let them run away with things, and then the DL will come, and then the target will be way too big for them. So these 10 overs are very, very crucial when Pakistan come and bowl.
I tell you, first and foremost, the hard work is going on to get play going. We've got an inspection in another 10 minutes, then we'll have an idea of when play can resume. But all the efforts have been made essentially to get play resuming today in this epic encounter between India and Pakistan that have given us so many memories in the years gone by, that we not only have spoken about them today on Jindal Panther Cricket Live powered by Amul, but every time you step onto the field, you translate these memories into emotions, into a skill set. Just a reminder of the best we've seen. At the moment, the rain has been winning, so that's why we find ourselves in this situation in terms of the breaks. But all the efforts have been made. One inspection is due right now, and we're hoping that play can start at 9. If it starts at 9, then it's a 34-over game. India have to finish off their overs, and then Pakistan have to chase what the target will be in that situation. Going back in time is always fun, as I've had a chance to do that with all our analysts who played in so many India-Pakistan encounters. But let's talk about the recent past, because you don't play each other as prolifically as you used to in the past. So it's already these multi-nation tournaments in different formats as well, Sanjay. And here's where, Waka, you just pointed out something interesting. In that T20 format, in the last couple of years, it's where Pakistan have broken the jinx in the World Cups and got the wins over India, the final in the 2017 Champions Trophy as well.
Well, we're still searching for a win in a 50-over cricket. The last time we won was back in 2000.
In the recent past, or a favourite moment between this rivalry?
50-over cricket, the Champions
Could be
Trophy.
T20s.
I mean, every time Pakistan India plays, I mean, it's never a dull moment apart from today so far.
It's still to be seen.
Yeah, it's still to be seen. But I mean, this last 3 hours we've been sitting on that seat. It's not that easy. But yeah, I mean, you take the games from South Africa. South Africa, those World Cup games.
It's always, when I get asked this question, I find it very difficult. And when I go back to my room and then I suddenly think of all those memories. I'll go with the one that we just saw recently, because I was doing commentary on the game and did anything the last T20 encounter, Asia Cup. And India needed quite a few runs, and Babar Azam kept Mohammad Nawaz till the very end, which was not a bad idea because he was bowling all his fast bowlers, better bowlers earlier. But somebody had to bowl the 20th, turned out to be Mohammad Nawaz, and there was quite a few runs to get. Dinesh Karthik had just come in. And again, Hardik Pandya, showed his class, and Bakar was mentioning off air. He doesn't, hate the guy is a genuine hero, and that was a performance that came after him, putting in that IPL performance for his side as captain and batter. So, yeah, that is my most recent memory.
And he performs everywhere. It's not only that it's Pakistan, India flat.
In that final in 2017,
yes,
if you remember Hardik's knock.
I mean, amazing knocks. Although the game was over in the Champions Trophy also, when he came down and he scored 60 odd in no time, and he was hitting sixes at will. And that really gave Pakistan a little scare at that stage, although the game was done and we all thought that we have won that game. But yeah, he's a prop. So, I mean, India is very, very lucky to have him.
And that is a statement. Let me just recap what has happened so far, because, Hardik Pandya yet to come in these conditions, if at all he gets a chance. 147 for 2 is where things stop, because you saw a 100-run partnership between Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill, both of them scoring 50s. What an extraordinary year it's been for Shubman Gill. But it was more the story, really, about the adjustments that they made to the threat of someone like Shaheen Afridi and the fearsome pace attack that Pakistan really possess. And I just get you to basically talk about that, because Sanjay, we had noticed it in the net
that he played against Afridi, that shot for a 6. I don't think I've seen any other batter in the world play that kind of shot against Afridi with the new ball, with his go-to delivery, getting that ball to swing. He's done that twice in 2 matches. The last time in Kandy, it was a 4.
And he, whenever he hits, he means business. He doesn't keep it down. He's not someone who tries to hit down and the ball sort of popped up or something. He meant hitting 6, and he hit 6s on when you ball him on the legs. And I hope Pakistan, then there is no other place to even ball to him. But early on, I thought Pakistan made a mistake with Shaheen in special, bowling on his legs.
And it's interesting you say that, because that was essentially one of the biggest threats for a player like Rohit Sharma. You saw that happen the first time that they met in this tournament in Kandy.
Maybe, and he's just waited a little more this time round. So what happened in Kandy was an aberration. You don't see that happening
and
these days.
After a rain breather.
Yeah, where the leg got shot and stuff. I was thoroughly impressed with the openers. Something to take away every time. I mean, it's gone heavy behind.
I think we can't ignore that. I think you can see behind us that the covers are back on.
It's inspection week tomorrow.
You and your predictions.
50-50s in this format, but all the analysts we've spoken to have been speaking about Shubman Gill and the adjustments that he has made, because he hadn't faced Pakistan has made to this fearsome trial.
Look, he's a quality player. We all know that. He has proven it in a very short time that what he's made of. There's so many runs in such a short period, that means the class is there. He's such a good player. And good thing to see is that he adjusted. A perfect example, isn't it?
We may have. I'll let those people find that particular ball. We've got the dismissal ball from the last one day, India Park, that was played in Kandy. And you'll find that ball from the ball that we saw there around the crease, so he was in no man's land, played the ball,
hesitant.
He didn't come onto the front foot. But look at that. I mean, that is brilliant to make that adjustment so
lost, and that break once again did him a good. I mean, he was struggling with his finger, where he jammed his finger into the ground trying to catch that, and went out and adjusted really well, and came back and bowled a couple of really good overs and picked up a big wicket of Gill.
So we're no longer in suspense. We know officially that play has been called off today, ladies and gents. So thank you for keeping us company as we've been waiting. But tomorrow we are 50 overs, first ball at 3 p.m. So that, in a sense, Sanjay, is good news, because you want to see 50 overs going into an ODI World Cup as well. You want to see your teams being tested in this format.
Absolutely. It's going to be a little demanding because it might be back-to-back matches for Team India. But Virat Kohli, heart of hearts, will be happy because now he'll go into bat and there'll be some time.
So will KL Rahul. Shadab in a T20 side, is unfounded, because you can see he's an outright match winner. Going into Indian conditions where you will assume that Shadab will be utilised, especially down the order with the batting prowess that he possesses, it could actually be a really big World Cup for him if he's able to make that switch.
I was so impressed with him in the last Asia Cup. And I was saying this, these people have him because he's a game changer with the bat at number 7. Sneaky is a great word. You've got to be sneaky as a spinner in T20 cricket, which he is. He is a genuine, leg spinner. He's not a mystery bowler. He gets the ball to turn and bounce. But this is where you've got to, like Hardik Pandya and Ishan Kishan, did the boring stuff. I think Shadab also needs to do that, because they can't be relaxed to ball right up there. Today it seemed like he was a little nervous under the pump with Rohit Sharma, bowled some rank, bad balls, loose balls, which he can't afford to do, on a big World Cup stage.
Yeah, he's not in rhythm. He's definitely not in rhythm. Although he picked up 4 wickets against Nepal, against a weaker opponent. But even in the previous game, he was, give away runs.
Well, the second time that the covers have come on officially, play has been called off. The first time that they came on was Nerolac colourful moments of the match, where it was Fakhar Zaman running with the ground staff to ensure that the covers were coming on in time. And that's the intensity and passion that ever with me. You've never been intense with me. Huh? Is he intense?
No. He's very relaxed. Yeah? He's very chilled.
He's in Zen mode.
You never know when Wakar is serious or,
Fair enough. Well, will the intensity resume tomorrow as well? It is, of course, Virat Kohli who would be walking out there with KL Rahul, and that's, I think, a crucial point, because we know that both KL Rahul and Ishan Kishan have been given a go in this. Shreyas Iyer is not playing because he suffered a back spasm. So again, Sanjay, I just say, with all the debate and the conversations that were happening for these two batters, specifically for KL, to now almost open an innings, what he was kind of used to doing before. How do you see that first 10 playing out, the application you see?
Very good. And I'm glad, I shouldn't be saying I'm glad, but if KL Rahul was in the playing 11 at the...
It's 50 overs. India will resume at 24.1. Smiles on the face. Time to put baby to bed. We all know that. Time to put ourselves as well. Thank you so much for keeping us company throughout the day with the kind of patience and diligence that both of you have had.
Hats off to you.
Yeah.
How many hours? Can the producer tell us? Mayanti has done a marathon session of 4 hours.
Well, it's just another day of Test cricket, wasn't it? Gentlemen, thank you. We will see you tomorrow. We resume our coverage. India will resume at 24.1 with Virat Kohli and KL Rahul. We'll see you then. Bye for now.
Thank you.